in this world poses beauty to human alike, even war is coming.
Greetings, Sentinels. This is Universe Unique, and today, the truth comes to light. Downey Jr. is back, but not in the way you remember. Not as the genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, but as the man poised to bring down everything we know in the MCU. The latest Avengers. Doomsday leak doesn't just confirm his return, it reveals the face of an antagonist who believes he's the last possible hero. Yet, there's a detail in this choice that changes everything, and no one seems to be paying attention. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That support helps our content reach even more Sentinels across the multiverse, and together, we're just one step away from hitting a major milestone. If you're into hot theories, leaked scenes, behind-the-scenes talk, and true deep-dive geek analysis, this is your spot. Now tell me, which city and country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this content is keeping you connected to the hottest news and theories in the nerd universe, go for the triple kill. Like, comment, and share. Robert Downey Jr.'s return to the MCU alone would be enough to crash any fan's feed. But stepping into the role of Victor Von Doom? Without the mask? With his face fully exposed? That's more than just provocation. It's a visual and symbolic rupture from everything we've known until now. Doom is Marvel's most vain and egocentric character, but also the most obsessed with order. In the comics, his scar is a permanent trauma, a reminder of the sacrifice he made for power. So why reveal his face now? That visual detail exposes what Marvel wants to stir inside you emotionally. Downey Jr.'s face, so closely tied to Tony Stark's legacy, shown unscarred, is an unmistakable emotional trap for the audience. And for Peter Parker. The leak suggests Doom was healed by Franklin Richards back in the post-credits scene of Fantastic Four. The purpose? To allow him to walk into Doomsday with a face that evokes Spider-Man's father figure, making their eventual encounter far more devastating. And if Peter truly believes, even for just a few seconds, that his mentor has returned from the dead, that isn't just fan service, that's emotional torture written into the script. And worse, it's part of Doom's plan. But there's something in this decision no one is talking about. Something that reveals how Marvel may be planting the first seeds of a silent, soft reboot within the MCU. I'll explain. Victor Von Doom never views himself as a villain. And that changes the way Marvel is positioning him in Avengers. Doomsday. According to the leaks, he doesn't appear with a purely destructive motivation. Instead, Doom believes he is saving the multiverse from the chaos of variants and reckless heroes who cause incursions without even understanding their actions. That is why he kidnaps Franklin Richards. In the comics, Franklin is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel universe. He can literally create realities with his mind. If that power falls into the wrong hands, a single timeline could collapse. Doom knows this. By capturing Franklin, he isn't directly trying to steal that power for himself. His goal is to stop others from doing it. Doom's logic is simple. Either the power is controlled by someone who fully understands the stakes, or the multiverse collapses. This is the most unsettling point. With that justification, Doom becomes a distorted version of a savior. He doesn't destroy out of pleasure, but out of calculation. He doesn't kill from hatred, but from prevention. In his mind, every sacrifice, even of characters we know and care about, is a necessary statistic to preserve a larger structure. Leaks suggest that Doom begins the film hunting characters who have already triggered incursions in the past. That includes Doctor Strange, Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and even Peter Parker, who, it's worth remembering, tampered with realities in No Way Home, alongside Strange. All of them are viewed by Doom as risks to the stability of the multiverse. But this raises another question. If Doom is the one hunting multiversal threats, who decides who lives and who dies? He places himself above the balance of time. This is the most dangerous part of his character. Behind the cold logic lies an abyss of arrogance. Doom doesn't just want to stop new incursions. He wants to be the only one with the authority to decide what is or isn't acceptable in the multiverse. That is what sets him on a collision course with the entire MCU. There is also one detail the leaks don't confirm, and it could completely change how the audience sees Doom. A specific moment, not yet revealed in full, suggests what truly drives his crusade against the heroes. And that missing piece may lie either in his past or in a future he has already seen. Franklin Richards is not just the son of Mr. Fantastic. He is, quite literally, a force of nature. In Avengers, Doomsday, his role goes far beyond being the boy kidnapped by Doom. He is the convergence point between absolute power and existential risk. Leaks indicate that Marvel is treating Franklin as the new trigger of the multiverse, something between a dormant bomb and a god in the making. In the comics, Franklin has already rewritten entire universes. He created pockets of reality to save dead heroes, altered timelines with unconscious thoughts, and in some arcs was even feared by cosmic entities like Eternity and Galactus. If the MCU version follows the same path, we're looking at someone capable of restarting or erasing any phase of Marvel on his own, which explains Doom's extreme measures. The most sensitive part of this storyline lies in Franklin's connection with his mother. According to recent information, Sue Storm dies during the events of the Fantastic Four movie, and Franklin resurrects her using the power cosmic. The side effect? Sue returns with eyes glowing like a star, as if she had glimpsed something greater than life itself. And this change is not only visual. Vanessa Kirby, who plays Sue, has stated that her character comes back different, with a kind of expanded awareness in her gaze. This suggests that her resurrection caused an overload in her perception, something explored in Doomsday through hallucinations, visions, or flashes of alternate realities. The metaphor is clear. She died, and saw the entire multiverse for a second. This also hints at something bigger. By channeling the power cosmic, Franklin may have forged a link with the structures of time and existence. He doesn't just control energy, he accesses the multiverse's memory. If he begins to recall events he never lived, or foresee events that haven't happened yet, he becomes a narrative catalyst, possibly even a Nexus being, if Marvel follows that logic. Doom understands this. That is why he hides Franklin, keeping him away from the other heroes. The danger is not only in what Franklin can do, but in what he can reveal. Because if he has seen the end, he may also be the beginning of something we do not yet understand. And there are signs that someone else wants this power. Someone who hasn't appeared in the trailers or the major leaks, but whose presence has already been felt behind the scenes. Peter Parker will face Tony Stark's face once more. But this time, it won't be the mentor he lost in Avengers. Endgame. It will be Doom. This promises to be one of the most painful and most carefully engineered moments in Avengers. Doomsday. It's not just a visual trick, it's an emotional move with symbolic weight, tied directly to the MCU's legacy and Spider-Man's fragility after all he has lost. Downey Jr.'s face, clean and unscarred, without the iron mask, strikes directly at Peter's memory. The boy who idolized Stark will, for an instant, believe there's hope. That maybe there's another version, a second chance. But that hope will be brutally torn away when Doom reveals his real intentions. This manipulation is calculated, not only against Peter, but against the audience itself, pulling them back into grief. This time layered with betrayal. Behind the scenes, the choice to show Doom without his mask is not just an aesthetic decision, it's narrative. It allows Downey to explore the character's nuances without the mechanical barrier of the helmet. And it creates real-time conflict with characters who once knew Tony. For Peter, it's the height of his unresolved trauma, and the script leans into that. The scene is expected to echo Secret Wars and the Time Runs Out arc from the comics, where Doom and Strange debate the imminent destruction of all realities. Here, Peter represents the emotional anchor between the MCU's past and present. Doom's decision to hunt him down, to view him as a threat because of his role in causing an incursion, makes this confrontation inevitable. More than a physical battle, it will be a clash of convictions. Rumors suggest this scene was one of those reshot at Downey Jr.'s request. That's no coincidence. Reports indicate he wanted more dramatic weight in the exchange between Peter and Doom. If that's true, we may see a Spider-Man torn between fighting and pleading, because he's not just facing a villain. He's confronting the memory of someone who shaped who he is. And that raises the central question: how much of this burden can Peter carry? If Doom truly threatens to erase his reality for the sake of a greater plan, who will stand with Spider-Man to stop him? Or will he be completely alone? The answer may involve a name not yet officially confirmed in the cast, but already hinted at in shadowed TVA sequences. Doctor Strange may be more connected to Doom than the audience expects. And it's not just about magic. Behind the scenes, Marvel's decision to skip what would have been Doctor Strange 3 and push the story directly into Avengers. Doomsday shows a move of narrative containment. The multiverse storyline spun out of control, and Marvel chose to cut corners. The post-credit scene from Multiverse of Madness, where Clea warns Strange about an incursion into the dark dimension, was originally designed as the trigger for a new solo film. But after Jonathan Majors' controversies and audience fatigue with overly fragmented plots, Marvel accelerated the timeline. As a result, Strange and Clea's mission now takes place off-screen. Its consequences will already be underway when Doomsday begins. This has major implications. It means Strange's arc of growth, his use of the Darkhold, his possession of the dead, and the fallout from No Way Home will be compressed into exposition or passing references. Marvel cut the emotional curve in order to fast-track the multiverse resolution. That shifts the impact and creates space for another character to take the magical spotlight: Doom. In the comics, Doom and Strange share one of Marvel's most philosophical clashes, especially in Time Runs Out and Secret Wars 2015. Both believe they are saving the world, but their methods and moral boundaries diverge. By cancelling Strange's arc, Marvel reduces the ambiguity, which risks making Doom even more dominant and one-sided in the story. The trade-off is emotional weight. By dropping Strange's solo film, Marvel weakens his bond with Clea and dilutes the significance of any sacrifice or downfall he might face in Doomsday. If he dies, it won't resonate as deeply. If he turns corrupted, the audience will have less context to understand why. There may also be another hidden layer. Visual hints suggest Strange may have already wielded cosmic power recently, possibly tied to Franklin Richards' influence. If he secretly made a pact with Doom, the potential betrayal could be far greater than it seems now. Among the remaining MCU heroes, Thor looks the most expendable, and that may be exactly why he's set up for the most impactful death in Avengers, Doomsday. Leaks indicate that the WTF moment in the third act will be a brutal, definitive sacrifice. Not symbolic, but final. The name most consistently mentioned by insiders is Thor Odinson. The choice is deliberate. After Love and Thunder, Thor lost much of his emotional weight. Both Marvel and the audience know it. Gamon. Making Thor fall in a tragic sacrifice would not only serve the story, it would also act as redemption, restoring the mythological gravity of a god who once stood for honor and strength, but became comic relief in his own franchise. More importantly, Thor's death provides a perfect setup for his eventual return after Secret Wars, with a new tone, a new approach, and possibly even a new actor. It's the type of move that enables a soft reboot, keeping the legacy but resetting the emotional core, as Marvel did with Steve Rogers, and to an extent, Tony Stark. In the comics, Thor's death is often tied to cosmic-scale events: Ragnarok, War of the Realms, or arcs involving Galactus. In Doomsday, speculation is that Thor confronts Doom directly and loses. But it's not just about the fight, it's about motive. Thor may hold vital knowledge of the multiverse's structure, possibly provided by the TVA or even Loki. He tries to stop Doom from erasing entire universes in the name of order. That impulsive, noble act could be his last spark as a hero who has spent years searching for purpose. If this death happens, it would serve as an emotional catalyst for the other heroes. especially if it occurs in front of characters with little direct bond to him. The isolation would intensify the impact. But there's a twist. Growing rumors suggest Thor's death may be staged, an illusion within the multiverse, orchestrated by another character not yet revealed in any teaser. If that's true, then Thor's apparent fall could mask an even more devastating loss, something that shakes the MCU's emotional core. A silent variant, ignored so far in leaks, may be the true target. The silence around Kang is intentional. After Jonathan Majors' dismissal and uncertainty about the character's future, Marvel appears to have made a strategic decision: erase the Council of Kangs from immediate plans and use Avengers, Doomsday, to pivot toward a new central antagonist. That new axis of power is tied to Doom, but filtered through the TVA. Leaks point to scenes inside the TVA, with architecture and visuals identical to those in Loki. This suggests not just stylistic continuity, but direct integration of the time-monitoring structure into Doomsday's main conflict. The biggest question is Loki's absence. At the end of Loki Season 2, he became the guardian of the timelines, a god of realities. If incursions are still happening, why hasn't he stopped them? The prevailing theory is that something forced Loki to leave his seat. It could be an internal collapse, an outside attack, or betrayal from within. Whatever the reason, his departure leaves the TVA exposed. That's where Doom moves in. He emerges as an alternative force of order. Not an isolated villain anymore, but a player operating in the void left by the TVA. Another clue supports this. In Loki, the Council of Kangs scattered after He Who Remains death. But after Major's scandal, Marvel began dropping lines suggesting the TVA had already started hunting Kang variants, a way to rebalance the story and cut ties with the continuity. It's likely Doomsday opens with that mission already completed. Kang would be gone, off-screen. The inspiration comes directly from Infinity War's opening, where Thanos had already crushed the Asgardians before his first line. Here, Doom could debut as the executor of a multiversal purge, showing he has already won and taken the place of former villains before the audience even realized. But Kang's removal raises another question. If he's no longer central, who are the TVA's new targets? Rumors suggest forgotten variants tied to abandoned timelines are resurfacing. One of them may connect directly to the character who caused the MCU's first major fracture, the missing link between Doom and the final collapse. The leaks go beyond plot. Reports from behind the scenes of Avengers, Doomsday, point to tension between Robert Downey Jr. and another major cast member. Curiously, the alleged clash wasn't with the original Avengers, with whom Downey has long-standing friendships. Suspicion falls on one of the newcomers, possibly tied to the X-Men, actors who had never worked with him in large productions. Conflicts like this are not unusual in blockbusters. Vin Diesel and The Rock famously refused to shoot scenes together in Fast and Furious. The difference here is that, according to rumors, Downey demanded reshoots of several Doom scenes, delaying schedules but ensuring greater dramatic weight. If true, his role is not symbolic. It's a personal repositioning within the MCU. He didn't return just to appear. He returned to redefine tone. This ties into a bigger issue. The MCU is in a period of fatigue, and Marvel knows it. Bringing back Downey as Doom is a high-impact move, but also a gamble. The studio must balance nostalgia with innovation without repeating old formulas. That's why every rumor of reshoots, delays, or creative tension reinforces the idea that Doomsday isn't just another event film. It's a turning point. The moment Marvel decides whether it will hold its audience's loyalty or hand the baton to a new generation. And what these conflicts reveal is deeper. If even Downey, the symbol of the MCU's first era, had to intervene to secure quality, it shows that the actors themselves recognize the franchise can no longer survive on repetition. Avengers. Doomsday won't only be about Doom against the heroes. It will be about the MCU fighting for its legacy in front of an audience demanding more. Now I want to hear from you. What's your take on this new direction for Marvel? And tell me in the comments which city and country you're watching from. I read every response, and it's incredible to see how far this community of Sentinels has reached. If this content is helping you stay connected to the most explosive news and theories in the nerd universe, don't forget to subscribe. We're very close to reaching an important milestone, and your support makes all the difference. By subscribing, you ensure you'll never miss the biggest revelations about the MCU and the multiverse of pop culture.